Ladies and gentlemen, our dear Mavi community, welcome on today's call. Today, with me on the call, one and only Mr. Mustafa. He will speak about the partnership between FinUp and Zignaly, and of course, on today's call, ladies and gentlemen, it's also Mr. Doyan, the expert who is managing Binance Core and Delta Max. Once again, the previous week was very, very successful. If you load your accounts in the last 7 days, your deposits, your initial deposits, they should be already in green. Once again, welcome on today's call. We will speak about the blockchain. We will speak about the cryptocurrencies. We will speak about the current crypto market situation. And once again, as I said before, we will cover our partner FinUp, Zignaly, and for the cherry on top, of course, one and only Mr. Doyan with the latest news and updates and what was happening in the blockchain and the crypto space. But before we will pass the word to Mr. Doyan, my dear Mustafa, once again, good evening. How is in Dubai? How are you? And what did you prepare for our community this week?
Good evening. How are you? Welcome back to another week of the call. Okay, so exciting updates from my end. We are just around the corner for the mainnet. That's where all the exciting stuff is going to happen. But that's nothing to be so anticipating for your community because you guys get things first, as always. So last week I spoke about indexes, which was coming up. It was a little premature of me to go out there and speak about it, but for you guys, I'm gonna still do it. So here's the thing. I want to give a small update on it and how it will look for your community, because now I have a better understanding on how things are working. So and then I want to also show the community about some cool stuff that FinUp has updated on the platform. So anyway, let me go back and start with that. So yeah, we have the mainnet coming. So all of this tokenized stuff coming that I've been talking about for a very long time. Markets are hot. So let's worry about the RWAs later. Right now, the focus should be on Binance Core, Delta Max. Let's ride this wave. Anyway, so regarding the indexes, so nothing will change for the end user. What they will see is basically another strategy listed in the FinUp application. How it's going to work is you and your team, me and your team are going to sit down and create the basket. Okay, now just as an example, let's name it Domen basket, yeah? So like you guys have the Binance Core Delta Max, it will be Domen's basket. It will be a bunch of tokenized stuff. So it can be tokenized gold, the Tech Magnificent 7, and the stablecoin yield. And if you want to put a crypto strategy, we can also integrate Delta Max in there. Combine them together, integrate them together, and whatever the average yield, which would be computed on a daily basis, will be put there. So again, for the end users, it's less headache. They don't have to go worry about, okay, let me go, select here, select there, select that. They just see Domen's basket. Oh, what's inside this? What's the yield? I like this. What's the risk curve? I like this. Let me put, Mustafa's basket is less risky. I don't want any of that. I want Domen's basket, So for the end user, it's going to be very simplified visuals. For me and for you, our tech team is working on it to get everything. They're running the final test. Like I said last week that I need 2 weeks time to have everything running. So hopefully by the end of this week, I'm going to be reaching out to you guys and go hey, let's get this basket figured out. What do you want in this basket? What do you want to bring to your community? So I think maybe you can run a poll with your community, I'm no one to say, but see, what they are most excited about, and that way we can sit down, collaborate, and see how to, we're always taking this partnership to the next level, so how we can take it further. So that's the update about the indexes. Now, I know that I told you guys that I'm going to prepare some documentation and show you guys. Unfortunately, I cannot do that today until I have legal clearance to do that. So hopefully I'm hoping for next week to do that because this news is still not out there. So I cannot, for anybody, like I said, I'm just giving you guys the alpha. So until we announce it officially from our channels, I cannot showcase anything yet. So please forgive me about that. But my promise is to bring you guys stuff first, and I'm going to deliver on that. So that's the update from me on the indexes. Blockchain I already went over, which includes all of this stuff. And then I would love to take the community through the updates that you guys made on your website, which I was playing around with and I loved. So if you allow me, I will share my screen and we go from there.
Please.
So let me know if you see my screen.
We see me. So you just need to change.
Yeah, amazing. Okay. So guys, I ran you through the FinUp platform, how to deposit, how to withdraw, and there's recordings of that, and also FinUp's website has exact, broke it down steps on how to do that. So I'm not gonna go through that today, but I love this. Everything is here. Your balance, your Twitter news, the charts, the volumes, and my allocators. Now, what's something really interesting that you guys might have missed is the portfolio tracker. So what they've added is transaction history. Sometimes you're putting in money, you're withdrawing money, you tend to forget how much did I deposit, how much did I withdraw, where do I have things, like where am I allocated? So if you go down to transaction history, obviously you can see this. Since I haven't done so many transactions, maybe you guys might have done. So what you can do is export it all into a CSV file. Once you click export all, it comes to your registered email address that you have on FinUp. So for me, it's this email. You get the email. Here's your transfer history report. I already pre-done it. This is from a while ago, but it updates. It takes like 30 seconds for it to come. You just click this. It loads this. And then all you have to do is click download report. Once you click download report, boom, it's downloading. It's downloaded. You go on your downloads, open the report. And this is a beautiful broken down into exactly what date, what time, tax ID, tax type, the status that it was completed, from the address, where to, the account to, even the names, finance core, Delta Max, how much we put, what network, the fee, everything. And if there was a message, there was no message. So let me run you guys through the steps again, just so you guys know. You might have missed it. So let's go back to the overview. So this is the main page. If you guys want to export your history, you go to portfolio tracker. Once it loads, you go back to transaction history. You click that. Like I said, you can see everything here, but for the people who have done many, many transactions and want to track something that's old, you click export all. You're gonna get an email right here. You click that. Opens the report. You click download. Actually, it automatically downloads. You have it here. Boom. And it's right here. And then you can mess around. You can take it to Excel if you want to create filters, if you want to sort, if you want to look for anything specific. But this is the history of my account, which is my test account actually on there. Yeah. So here I am. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. So
Mustafa, I have questions during this call. Once again, we present the basket of different kind of products that they are going to be integrated inside of the FinUp platform already a few weeks ago. Now, based on all the information that you shared the previous week and today on a call, when our users can expect the new added feature, fully functional, integrated, tested inside of the FinUp platform. Once again, once you set up the date or you give let's say the date in general, from that moment on, we need to stick to our community and we need to have our promises until when the team can implement this.
Okay. My goal is before the end of next week is to have, I could have already integrated the stablecoin, the yield one already, but I was like, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna want to integrate everything all in one go. So before the end of next week, you guys should have it. I'm going to be reaching out to you before the end of this week to sit down with you and plan it. So give me till maybe Friday, we sit down, and then I think it will be clear for both of us on how to go forward and have a date ready. But like I said, my promise is before the end of next week to have the indexes ready. If by any reason I don't have the index ready, I will at least have the Falcon stablecoin yield ready for you guys by next week. So if I'm not delivering on one thing, I'm going to deliver the other thing for sure.
Okay, Mustafa, let's go like this. Next week, we present everything with the materials. And of course, on the next week call, we will present what can be implemented inside of the next week, end of the next week. And I believe, once again, just during this call, I'm getting the messages when that kind of things are coming. Once again, I'm not saying that our community is demanding, but once again, let's say that the FinUp is the safe haven in order to put your money because it is in your hands. That's why more and more people would like to explore between different kind of products integrated. So next week we present, and by the end of the next week, Falcon strategy or other things are fully implemented.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Okay, Mustafa, what I can say, thank you very much for joining this call. We will speak by the end of the week for all the integration for today. Once again, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Mustafa, thank you. Now I would like to invite on the call Mr. Doyan, the gentleman who is managing hundreds of thousands, soon over, let's say a few millions of dollars with Binance Core and Delta Max. Mr. Doyan, I hope you can hear me loud and clear. I hope you are still not in Korea because it's probably 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. your time. Once again, good evening. Thank you very much for joining this call. And please let us know what has happened with the trading in the previous week and all connected topic. Doyan, I hope you can hear me loud and clear.
Hello, Domen. Yes, I'm here. And unfortunately, I'm still in Korea, and it's 2 a.m. in the morning. But today, I feel okay. So, yeah. And also, yeah.
Doyan, the audience is yours. I know that you are fully prepared, fully ready. You can just run. Thank you.
All right. So let me quickly share my screen. I hope everyone can see my screen now.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. So first of all, performance updates. So far, returns for September is more or less negative 0.78% for Binance Core. We're still in recovery phase from the drawdown from August, as you can see in the graph. Also, currently the market is not showing huge up or down movements, so we're still waiting for big waves either up or down. As I have previously explained in the meeting, our portfolio consists of many trend following strategies. So when the market is either bullish or bearish, the portfolio tends to be very profitable. But yeah, anyway, so the overall return so far for Binance Core is 4.37%. For Delta Max, the return for September so far is negative 0.53%, and overall return is 3.43%. The only difference between Binance Core and the Delta Max is the risk setting. Think of Delta Max as a less aggressive version of Binance Core. And also, I just want to point out that right now, at the moment, the portfolio looks like it's in a bad position as it is still in a recovery phase. But we know for sure sooner or later the loss will be recovered. It is taking some time. So yeah. And based on the last weekly meeting, I thought it would be helpful to prepare a presentation about the risk in trading in general. So today I would like to share some aspects, like simple but important concepts of risk, how we utilize these concepts in our operation. And before I jump into the topic, I really want to say that I'm not a mathematician or a statistician. I'm just a programmer, and also I'm pretty sure you guys are already familiar with the topics that I'm about to discuss. So yeah, I hope you guys can understand that. So first, when we say risk, it means volatility, and volatility means standard deviation. Of course, there are other forms of risk like market risk, CEO risk if you are investing in companies like Tesla or SpaceX. But when it comes to quantitative trading, the risk usually means standard deviation. It simply means how spread the data is from the mean or the average. And below is the formula for standard deviation. For the population standard deviation, the steps to calculate the deviations are first, you take each data or value from the data set and subtract it by the population mean or the average, and then you square those differences, and then you add them all together, and after that you divide the number by the total number of the data in the population, and finally you take the square root of the result and you get the population standard deviation. For the sample standard deviation, it is almost the same. The only difference is that instead of dividing the total number of sample, we divide it by one less than that, because it makes the estimate more accurate, since sample standard deviation, a sample doesn't represent the entire population. So in statistics, I think people mostly use sample standard deviation because usually it is almost impossible to get the data from the entire population. And also for trading, we use the sample standard deviation as well. So when it comes to calculating volatility of portfolio or strategy, each data would be, for example, daily returns in percentage. So for example, as you can see on the right, this is one-dimensional array containing daily percentages. So for example, here on the first day, the return is 1%, the next day is 2%, and on the third day it's negative 3%. And yeah, I hope you get the idea. And the point is, we want to reduce this number, this volatility, because we want low volatility and we want less risk. And with this concept of standard deviation, we can calculate some risk metrics such as Sharpe and Sortino ratio. These metrics are very useful when it comes to measuring how strategy performed in terms of risk. So the formula is very simple. For Sharpe ratio, the formula is expected portfolio return minus risk-free rate divided by standard deviation of portfolio. Here, expected portfolio is simply, it means the average of all the historical returns of the portfolio. For risk rate, I think if you are investing in stocks, you can use like US 10-year treasury yield as a benchmark. But for us, we simply use this metrics to compare which strategies is better. So we just leave it at 0. Sortino ratio is exactly the same. However, instead of taking normal standard deviation, it takes a standard deviation of the negative returns only, because, for example, in trading, normally, let's say if your balance like doubles or triples in a single day, it's a good thing. But in terms of standard deviation, because it simply measures how far the data is from the mean value, it could lead to higher volatility, even though like doubling or tripling balance in a single day is a good thing. So basically, Sortino ratio is taking only the downside or the negative returns as a risk, which makes sense in trading. And the next concept is Pearson correlation. As far as I know, this is widely used in many other fields like biostatistics, but in trading, it could be used to measure diversification. The idea is that if you want to diversify, you want to invest in instruments or assets that are negatively correlated in terms of returns. So for example, if you invest in two different assets like asset A, asset B, and one day if asset A goes up by 5% and asset B goes up by 5%, just like asset A, then there is no point of investing in these two instruments, these two assets together because they're moving in the same direction. And Pearson correlation is a method to measure this. So the formula is first you find the covariance of returns of strategy A and B and divide it by the multiplication of the standard deviation of strategy A and B here. The formula for covariance, I did not put it here because it is not really important, but you can ask ChatGPT or Google it if you want. It's a bit similar how you find standard deviation, but you can have a look if you want to. And so if you punch in the number and if you get 1 for the correlation, it means positively correlated. If it's negative, it means it's negatively correlated. If it's 0, then there is no relationship. So for the diversification, you want to find assets or strategies that are negatively correlated or has no relationship because negative correlation means less volatility or less risk. And we use all these concepts in our process. Our process, once again, is we first generate thousands and thousands of strategies, and then we select 43-ish strategies. So basically, our portfolio is like 43 or more strategies running like a single algorithm. And during this process of selecting strategies, this concept becomes very useful. So, for example, this is a graph of a correlation of the strategies. And as you can see, some strategies are showing up to 0.3 correlation to negative 0.1 correlation. And when we use this metrics to filter out strategies that are too highly correlated because we want to reduce the risk. And next, onto the strategies adjustment segments. As I have explained last week, in August, the portfolio experienced drawdowns of more or less like 10% because the market has been highly volatile yet sideways or flat. To cover this weakness, 2 weeks ago we have launched a new version of trading which integrates new mean reversion strategies. So the only difference between the old version and the new version is that some of the strategies are removed, and we added new set of strategies which are mean reversion strategies that perform well in this type of market, so the portfolio can generate more steady returns. So this is the first set of strategies we have added to existing portfolio. But I think I already went over this last week, so I will not talk so much about this. This is the another set of strategies that we have added to existing portfolio. Again, I went over this last 2 weeks, but the point is that these two new models has low correlation to the existing portfolio as it consists of mean reversion trading. So to some degree, these models should hedge each other. And we have been running this two set of strategies together on our test account with like $100. And so far, from the beginning of the September until now, the return is more or less, I think, 3%. So it is working fine. And also, these two models have already been integrated into the existing portfolio and production. So it should be running on your account if you already have subscribed to our strategies. And this is the simulation result of the updated strategies for Binance Core, so everything combined. Again, this is not a real trading data. This is a simulation. As you can see on the right, the maximum drawdown is negative 12 I think, yeah, 12%. So please, if you are interested in subscribing to our portfolio like Binance Core, please have in mind that you could lose up to 12%. So please be aware of the risk. And this is the simulation results of the updated strategies for Delta Max. Maybe I'll share the data if you want to, so that you can have a closer look later. And the final note I want to make, the risk is always involved with trading, especially in cryptocurrency. I hope you find today's information useful when you evaluate our strategies or other strategies. Also, I want to say again that currently the portfolio looks like it's in a bad position, as we are still in a recovery phase from the drawdown, and it is taking some time. But soon or later, this will be recovered for sure, as everything is getting executed based on our calculations. And yeah, that's it.
Mr. Doyan, I'm sure that our team of translators today just enjoy everything. I'm sure that I think we never had such a technical call. I think in the history of no matter what kind of collaboration we have, but this was by far one of the most sophisticated one and one of the hardest one. I'm sure that I will get the thumbs up straight after this call. Doyan, final question. Once again, the team is asking me if everything will start to collapse, will Binance Core and Delta Max, if everything will start to slow down or start to fall apart, when I'm speaking about price action and everything, will people make money still with Binance Core and Delta Max?
So as I have explained, so our portfolio consists of many trend following strategies. So if the market collapses, the bigger the collapse, the bigger the profits will be, because it's the trend following strategies. So yeah, either way, up or down, we can make money. Yeah.
Doyan, thank you very much for joining this call. Thank you very much for detailed explanation, and I'm sure that you and your team will prepare even more deeper research about everything what you are doing. Doyan, once again, thank you very much for joining this call. My dear community, what I can say, thank you very much for joining this call. Last 3 days, they were very, very busy with all the calls and with all the delivery. Mustafa, Doyan, thank you very much for joining. See you next week with the latest news and updates, new results, and even a deeper explanation of our products. Like Mr. Mustafa said, by the end of this week, we will discuss. Next week, new things are coming inside of the FinUp platform. My dear community, once again, köszönöm szépen. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias por todo. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.